You now, a charity that's always taken, generally speaking, celebrities abroad in the past to highlight poverty in certain parts of the world, the poorest countries in particular, has recently turned to a Leicestershire mum instead. Non-profit organisations are well known for choosing the likes of Kylie, Lenny Henry and Jerry Halliwell to try and get as much media attention as possible. But this time it was Sian Toe from Market Harborough, and she flew out to Bangladesh on behalf of Save the Children and returned home only last Saturday. And she joins me hot foot from her home this morning. Good morning to you, Sian.
Good morning.
This has been an amazing experience for you. I've absolutely no doubt about that, and I want to come on to that, if I may, in a few moments' time. But first, let's put it all into context, because you and I first crossed paths through something called Twitter.
Yeah, that's right.
And you are known as Mummy Tips.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've been on that for how long now?
About 18 months.
Right, and that came as a result of your blogging, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I went onto Twitter as a means to promote what I was writing on my blog.
And explain in simple terms exactly what a blog is.
A blog is, I guess, just an online diary and a place for you to write. When you're younger and you scroll away in your diary, I mean, I kind of equate it to that. It's my way of speaking about the things in my life and myself and everything that I'm doing.
Why did you want to do it in such a public manner as a blog then?
Well, I started my blog as a product review blog, and after about 3 months or so I thought, I can't be bothered with this anymore, and I started writing more about my life. And I noticed that I was getting more views on my pages when I was writing about the times when I go to the wrong airport, or I miss flights and I'm having problems with my kids. Those are the things that people wanted to read about more than, for example, what's the best skincare product on the market. So my blog kind of evolved into what it is today.
It's more about you, your life, and your times.
Yeah.
And from that came Twitter.
Yes, yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, actually, how do you get from 1 follower to 100 or to 200? And I can't even remember my first tweet, or what it felt like to be talking to nobody. And but then that also, it just happens. You talk to one person who talks to somebody else, and then it kind of snowballs from there. But yeah, they both happened at around the same time.
Now, for anybody that is unfamiliar with Twitter, you actually go onto a website that is twitter.com, and you just put a status, really. This is what I'm doing, or this is what I'm about to do, or this is what I've done, or whatever.
Yeah.
But you have to do it in less than
140 characters.
Right. So it concentrates the mind.
Yeah.
It has to be pretty concise.
Yeah.
You can't sort of ramble on forever and a day.
No, you can imagine what a group when people who've met on Twitter, when we get together.
No stopping it.
No, it's just like 140 characters.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you've now got 3,000 followers.
Yeah, about 3,008, I think.
3,008.
Yeah.
And people that follow you, or me for that matter, can see what our series of status updates are.
For example, I just said, I'm on my way, I'm just trying to park the car.
Yeah,
to you.
That. Absolutely right, yeah. And I've been able to keep tabs on what you've been doing while you've been out in Bangladesh, because you took your equipment with you, your mobile phone and stuff like that, and you're able to give series of updates. Not only that, you're able to post pictures, and I saw even a video this morning.
We were kind of struggling with our internet connection, as is to be expected in a third world country. But actually over in Bangladesh, they've got an amazing mobile phone network. That's because people don't have landlines, so their mobile coverage is amazing. Even in the middle of nowhere that we had to get to by speedboat and seaplane, they still had mobile phone coverage.
Incredible.
So sometimes whilst I'm struggling in Market Harbour to get a signal, I was managing to tweet from the middle of a paddy field in Bangladesh.
Amazing.
Which is amazing.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're on your way to Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Save the Children.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, in July, I, along with 2 other bloggers, put on a conference in London called Cyber Mummy, and it was the first conference of its kind in the UK, and we brought together all women bloggers, mum bloggers, and brought them together under one roof and we did a whole day on the issues of blogging, ways to monetize your blog, writing workshops, that kind of thing. And a representative from Save the Children came along to the conference, and she saw me speaking, and she also saw Eva and Josie, who are my two fellow bloggers that went to Bangladesh. She saw us all speaking, and then a couple of days later we got a phone call to say, we want to take some bloggers on a field trip. Are you interested? And I just said yes, not knowing where I was going at that point either.
Right. So you flew out to Bangladesh. How long were you out there for?
We were out there for a week.
And what did you see? Tell me some of the sights that impressed you.
Yeah, I mean, when we arrived after about 20 hours travelling, we just dumped our bags and then rushed out to the first thing that we did. Bangladesh and Dhaka is an amazing city. It's just packed full of cars. The traffic doesn't move. The horns are beeping all the time. It's Ramadan also, so there's beggars everywhere tapping at the car windows. You can't drive through Dhaka with your car window down. There's so many beggars at the windows. We went to a children's hospital that was set up by Save the Children, and as it was the first thing that we'd seen when we got to Bangladesh, it came as a very big shock to us. Babies in there that are very, very ill, that are being treated now for severe acute malnutrition, pneumonia, diarrhea that has then caused them to slip into severe acute malnutrition. But these children, you always have to remember, they're the lucky ones, because they're the ones that are at the hospitals. They are getting the treatment that they need, and there were some pretty awful sights in that hospital. But that's the thing that we always have to remember, is that they are the lucky ones. So from that visit, the next day we went out into the field and we flew by seaplane, an aid seaplane, into Barasal, which was really exciting. None of us had ever been on a seaplane before, so that was just pretty amazing. And from there we went into the field and we tracked some of the community healthcare volunteer workers that Save the Children have put in situ in these remote villages, that have been taught basic healthcare, and through the work that they've done, they're saving hundreds and hundreds of lives, just with basic things like things that we as mothers take for granted here, like weight clinics. So once a month there's a weigh-in clinic, so the mothers can take their children along so that their babies can be weighed, so that the healthcare workers can catch things early. So if there's a baby that is on the verge of tipping over into malnutrition, they can treat them, and then they're not going to die, they're going to recover, because all of these things, they're treatable.
It's an eye-opening experience, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never been to Bangladesh, but Julie, my wife, and we've been to places like Uganda and Sri Lanka. You talk about poverty in this country.
You don't understand.
And they, honestly, you've got to see it to believe it.
Yeah, you do, absolutely. The villages that we visited, they don't have electricity, and I know that sounds, quite flippant, but you know what that actually means. The houses are dark. The heat there, it's so hot. Yet there's no way of cooling down. They've got no toilets. The makeshift toilets that they do have are often next to their water source. It floods in Bangladesh. So if they have a heavy rainfall, then that's washing all of their toilet into their lake, where they wash their pots, where they wash the clothes, where they themselves wash. And it's so easy to see how the children are ill all the time, because they've just got no basic sanitation, and it takes your breath away. It really does.
Is it fair to say that this has been a life-changing experience for you, Sian?
Yeah, absolutely. It really puts things into perspective. I guess, I've come back a campaigner where I never was before, and I think that it would be a challenge for anybody not to be that way, when they've been into the field and they've seen that those kind of things are going on. And the work that Save the Children does out there is absolutely amazing. It really is second to none. And for everything, all the good things that they're doing, there's hundreds and hundreds of villages and people that are not getting that basic help that they need, which is why still now every 3 minutes in Bangladesh a child dies. And that's just,
it takes some absorbing, doesn't it?
I mean, we visited a government hospital on the last day, And by stark contrast to the things that Save the Children are doing in the field, that it was shocking. The state of the hospital was appalling. It was filthy dirty. There were 3 patients to a bed, people all over the floor. The whole family's there. You know, a huge contrast to a hospital here where you're turfed, you know, you're allowed 20 minutes visiting time and 1 person. These people have got like 10 people around them. It's more like a football ground than it is a hospital. It's noisy, it's dirty, the beds are dirty, there's no, you know, hand washing and there was a baby in the intensive care unit that was really, really, really ill. They'd already lost a baby that morning, and the doctor told us that that baby probably wasn't going to last the day, and that was really hard. We all only just managed to hold it together when we came out of there. It was really sad.
Because you're a mum yourself with some children, aren't you?
Yeah.
How did all that manage while you were away?
With the children?
Yeah.
It was pretty good, actually. We were Skyping every day as the connection was allowing.
Right.
So the children have been following my blog and following everything that we've been doing on YouTube. So I was pretty much, I was able to speak to them every day.
It's amazing,
on the times that...
And they could see you as well as you.
Yeah. They have a very big problem with their electricity in Barrow. There's loads of power cuts. But as it was allowing, we were Skyping, so that was good.
Yeah. And I bet you'll never take the NHS for granted again, will you?
No, never. Never.
Absolutely amazing. So what are you going to be doing for Save the Children, do you think, from here on, Sian?
Well, the whole point of the trip was to promote the UN summit that's taking place in September in New York that Nick Clegg's going to. And we want Nick Clegg to promise not to cut the funding that the government signed up for in 2000 when they agreed to be part of these Millennium Development Goals. Now, a lot of the governments are withdrawing their funding, and we want the UK to say they're not going to cut that funding. So in order to do that, we need 100,000 signatures on the Save the Children petition, and that's basically what we're asking people to do.
And that can be found on the website?
Yeah, the petition is at www.savethechildren.org.uk/nudge-nick. And the information and links to the petition can also be found on my blog, which is www.mummy-tips.com.
Thank you so much for coming in.
No, thank you for having me.
Putting a face to the Twitterer, if that's what they call it. The tweet, yes, okay. Thank you so much, Sian. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
BBC Radio Leicester.
7